Trust the Force, Luke.
Sometimes truth isn't good enough.
I feel the need for speed.
Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes!
Because it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
Hey guys, welcome back to Winter Wolf's Den. We're going to bring Kingsley in real quick. We're going to do FrostCast 34 because it's Wednesday, and Wednesday has become synonymous with, not FrostCast, but Daredevil Born Again. See, guys, this is what you do when you're too lazy to plan out a proper lineup of topics. You say, hey, what's the biggest show on like streaming right now? What can we talk about that's the easiest to do with the least amount of effort watching a show? And you get Daredevil Born Again. That's what you do.
But at least we're not the only ones doing it. It's like the topic. And I do believe this episode was the most anticipated episode. One, because they know who was showing up. And two, the way they left us in episode 3.
Hells yeah. I'm glad to hear. We were talking a minute ago, right before we got underway, that it seems like this show might be following in some Andor series legacy where it gets off to I'm not going to say a bad start. I'll say an underappreciated start. Because I'm willing to die on this hill right here. I will die on the hill that shows can have X number of viewers, and without context, nuance, or any kind of thinking applied to it, stupid people will lump them into the same bucket of if A sucked, then B sucked because they had more or less the same amount of viewers. And I'm like, no. Here's what happens. You get all kinds of factors that go into these things. You get brand burnout, brand damage. You get people that walked away and aren't going to come back at all. So when I say they got like the Andor situation, I mean, it gets off to a crap start because people have reasons for not watching the brand, Andor was Star Wars, clearly. This show, I think, it gets the benefit of following multiple, as we know, underperforming Marvel series on Disney Plus. It gets a little bit of a bump, clearly, because it is a legacy show from Netflix, the best Netflix Marvel show. The Punisher season 1 was pretty slapping, though. But Daredevil overall through 3 seasons was the best they ever did. Some say it's the best Marvel's ever done under the Disney bannership. Like that the Netflix show was better. Like the Disney's never hit series-wise what Daredevil accomplished. So you were telling me that it looks like it's on an upward trajectory viewership-wise.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because that's what Andor did.
What I was seeing a report stating that it's had 17 million streams since it started, which is it's an upward trajectory because it said the initial was along the lines with like Agatha and Acolyte, those type of shows. But now I think that the word of mouth is saying, hey, they did this one right. And I think with a lot of the news reports out there and the interviews with the actors talking about like, hey, I was going to walk away from the project because it just didn't make sense. Then they came back, got everything rolling again, and now I'm back, and I'm glad they taught me back into it because I'm really proud of what I've done.
I think it shows, man. And I think that for our side of things, for small time content creators or just the internet culture in general, the difference between Daredevil, Andor as like Team A, and then something like Kenobi, the two you just mentioned, Acolyte, Agatha, like those kind of shows. The difference is there's not 75 trillion minutes of negative video review of Daredevil Born Again going up on a weekly basis. There's not a bunch coming through. Hey, my man Pape is here. We'll get that in a second. There's videos that are out there that are like, hey, it's starting off kind of slow, but I'm down to see what they do next because of what King Z just said. That we're in it for the cast of characters that they brought back. They brought a lot of folks behind the camera back to work on this. So people are here for that kind of thing. Whereas on the flip side for Team D, every week getting a new and funnier disaster of a video made by all the good channels about how terrible this week's episode was. And that's not happening here. I get why some people, if we're being objective, some people have honest dislikes and gripes with this show like any other show. It's not perfect. Some people were pissed about the Foggy situation. They think that's a big hole or a big corner to have painted themselves into. A lot of people don't like the time jump that looks like it's left Matt not interacting with people he was very close to at the end of season 3. So I get it. There's all sorts of thematic or logistical issues people have the show. But quality-wise, if you just look at it as a show on its own, if it's out there on an island, the best one Disney's done for Marvel. I don't know how you get around that.
hands down, since they took the reins back from Netflix, this is probably the best one that they've done.
Yeah, I gotta agree. My man Pay gets a pass because Marvel is trying to restart the TV side of things, and Daredevil was the first best chance to do that. Dude, 100%. 100%. And welcome back, dude. We're not going to hold it against you if you were late or missed us last week. It's all good. More than welcome. Yeah, just let's talk Daredevil. Episode 4 comes at you with a great title. Sic Semper Systema, thus always to the system. And what's the show about? Systems. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All about systems failing, systems under stress. My tagline: Who's going to crack first? Who's the one that thinks he, but whatever, he does that better.
Yeah, but before we get in too deep, let's get that spoiler warning up.
Oh, dude, you can't throw the spoiler thing up until I make the sound and do this. It's like I'm down here like an idiot. There's no nothing.
Hey, your mic's cutting out.
That's because I sat back. Am I good now?
Yeah, you're good now.
All right, cool. Yeah, lots of spoilers, lots of things to talk about here. I think I don't think it was the biggest spoiler in the world to know that spoiler numero uno was that Welcome Back Frank was going to be a thing. I mean,
yeah,
basically showed a dude in the it's clear. I'm guessing it wasn't him. I think that was the whole point of his little exchange with Red, which I thought was funny. I forgot that he called him that.
Yeah, it was nice to see their interaction again. I mean, it's like they haven't missed a beat with the way they went back. And it was probably the most emotional scene we've seen in the series so far with how he just kind of broke down Matt.
Dude, Murdoch broke down and sobbed in front of the Punisher. That could only happen with two great characters written with an understanding of who they each are, without like an ounce of I don't think there's any false bravado in that scene either. Like Murdoch basically backhands the Punisher and then apologizes, and the Punisher's like, "You ain't got to apologize." Like, okay, all right, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, guys. But that was a great scene. But we got a lot to get to before we get there. I had a feel. I mean, let me ask you this just to start: were you under any misconceptions that this was going to be a big shoot 'em up episode, and that the Punisher was just going to run into town, gun down 30 or 40 NPCs, and do his thing? Because I was expecting kind of what we saw.
I was expecting exactly that. That's what we saw in the trailer and some of the leaked footage was him holding Matt up against with the hatchet he had when he first went in. Yeah, I liked his new hideaway and like how Matt knows where it is too.
You just walked right in. I'm like, it's pretty good. I like that, man. But yes, the title of the episode. All about systems and getting what's coming to them, and I think that's thematically. I thought they pulled off that title pretty good because we see each guy, Daredevil and Fisk, struggling to keep a lid on their base natures in this one.
Yeah,
one of them was less successful than the other.
They were having problems being this new person that they're projecting. Their former selves are starting to break through a little bit.
I think they're going to break through a lot in episodes 5 and 6, this is a good time to remind everybody then. Remember, guys, next week for Tuesday, double episode of Daredevil Born Again. They're hitting you with numbers 5 and 6. I don't think they're listed yet, like runtimes on like Wikipedia. They're not on Disney Plus now in like a preview state or anything. So we don't know if they're also, if they're also running. This was a solid 55. This is a good one. This is right. This is exactly where I want it to be runtime wise. And keeps it moving.
Yeah, I was there to bring that up with the runtime. Like you saw, the first one was an hour and 1, then the next one was like 46, and then it was 41. And I thought, no, you can't keep going down that down. And I saw the 55. And I was like, okay.
I don't think we mentioned that last week too. But I don't think we talked runtimes, but we should have, because that's exactly what I would have said. I'm like, oh wait a minute, the graph it's going down. It's not good. We're doing the Miss Marvel thing. It's like Miss Marvel all over again, except that show was kind of cute and charming, and this is not. But this is definitely the better show. Don't get me wrong. But it was nice to see like it's full-length TV show. It's like I'm sitting down to watch Game of Thrones. I'm sitting down to watch Stranger Things. I'm sitting down to watch Wednesday, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, like good shows. You know what I mean? That they have runtime, they have length, and they're not padded. There's no throwaway scenes. I thought there was a little bit of a throwaway scene here for a minute until it resolved with Murdoch taking up the pro bono case. I'm like, where is this going? And then how it resolves, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. He's starting to see that the system kind of sucks and it's not just. So working through it exclusively as Matt Murdock you're not helping people that way. You know what I mean? Like that guy's going to jail. You know what I mean? There's no, he's still going. But you know, Murdoch may be down the path as we saw. He went into the does Daredevil call his hideout anything? Is it the Devil's Pit or whatever? Or like the Devil Cave?
It's just his house, dude.
Just his
it's
house
where he lives. Yeah, just where he lives.
What kind of apartment in Hell's Kitchen has a slide away thing with garden tools on it though that hides the masks and shit? It's up on the roof like chicken coops, kitchen coops and shit. I don't know. I've never lived in New York. I couldn't tell you. It sounds awful. But no offense to anybody out there that might be listening in New York. I'm sure it's really nice where you live. But yeah, so we got a peek at that, which was nice because we got a peek at the Kingpin's lair. We got a peek at the Punisher's lair, which was kind of cool. You get to see how they're all very different.
Yeah. I was actually really enjoying this one. I liked how Fisk didn't know how the system worked.
Mm-hmm.
That whole scene there.
Killing.
Yeah. He was just like, let's just get it done. He's like, you can't just speak it into existence. It's like, you don't have that power. And it goes back to that what the police chief told him. Why did you take a job with less power and less money? Because he doesn't have the power to just make things used to. He has to go through and work the system.
And I hate that. And that's, I think that if we're going to draw real life, political comparatives, and we don't always do that, but I'll draw them here. This is what I mean when I say I don't mind politics creeping into the stuff we watch because it's not on the nose. Anybody that's been around politics knows that there's always a particular type of candidate that runs on the campaign promises of like cutting red tape and getting things done and this and that. And of course, we just had a very famous news cycle and a very famous election cycle here in the States with one candidate that did a whole lot of that and then got elected and did about 47 trillion, executive orders. I have a problem with that. That's I'm not going to get too political. I'm not a big fan of the EO, but still. And now, of course, we're in the aftermath of federal judges everywhere, like basically overturning or holding up those kind of decisions. So Fisk has to play the game to a degree, but he is still the kingpin. So I doubt he's very much going to play the game fully. But it's like you said, his campaign manager. That's what I'm going to call her. Her name's Sheila. I'm just going to call her campaign manager. So we got Sheila.
But technically, since the campaign's over, he'll be his chief of staff.
His chief of staff now, right. So Sheila, she's been, and she even has the line where she's like, I've been here before you and Fisk. I'm gonna be here long after both of you are gone. Clearly, she knows her game. She's basically telling him, if you want to do this, you have to do this, and to get that, you have to do this. But to have that, you have to get it on the docket or whatever she said.
Yeah,
Fisk's like, so that's the first step. Let's do that shit. And I'm like, okay. He's learning, he's adapting. That was a good scene down there by the dock, but it has fallout as he learned, because then we get the BB report and we get lady on the street being like, look at this, we can't trust Fisk, we can't even get the trash picked up, he said he was going to take care of that. And that's a direct result of all the stuff that's happening down there at the docks where he's being perceived as a union buster.
Yeah,
so there's fallout that trickles, and I like that. It's layers of complexity.
The whole confrontation in his office where he talked about there's no leaks in my administration,
that was terrifying.
And he was just chewing them all out, throwing his iPad around, and then he's like, Daniel steps up, he's like, it was me, I made the mistake.
Yeah, dude, that was balls.
Yeah,
kid's got a set on it. I think my perception in that case, you might remember I said that I had two takes on him. Number one, he's just kind of sleazy. I don't think he's sleazy anymore. He seems just kind of like a dope, which I think you were kind of, he's just kind of dopey. He's kind of a sycophant. He's got the greasy used car salesman look. But after this episode, I kind of like him. And I was liking him a little bit more even before he did the step forward courage thing. And then Sheila did the step forward loyalty thing right alongside him. I thought that was solid. But like, he basically got played by the BB report chick, by BB. He's got a crush on her. He clearly has a thing for her. And he got loaded and blabbed about a big, behind the scenes initiative that Fisk was going to do. And then she puts it out on front page, internet bullshit with like, what was it? Mayor Garbage or
Mayor Garbage.
Yeah. That's what you want when you're, 60 days in office. Oh, there we go. Okay.
If you read Daredevil comments, thanks, Daniel Blade is an apologist to the Rose, aka Richard Fisk.
Cool. Good. Then see, and this is again, I'm not a giant Daredevil lore guy. I know King Z knows a bit more than I do, but I appreciate those cuts so I can make those comps and understand a little bit more what's going on, because that's what I think makes this show more effective. The people that are making it know their stuff to some degree, and it's not just like a bunch of people sitting around a writer's table that were like, Daredevil's the blind guy in the red suit with the sticks, right? Okay, let's make him do stick stuff, and he's a lawyer. Let's do a lawyer thing. You know what I mean? Oh, there we go. Okay, the son of Wilson and Vanessa. Cool. Good to know. Thank you very much.
I think from here on out, every time you say Vanessa, we just have to go, Vanessa.
Vanessa. He sounds like he's got the same cold everybody else has. He's clearing his throat every 15 seconds. Yeah, so his character for me, the Daniel character there, stepped up a long way in this episode to me. He got humanized a little bit, because he interrupted the tirade to throw himself out there and be like, no, it was me. Fucking let everybody else go. Everybody's cool. It's just me. My responsibility.
And then his apology, his like 4-minute apology there.
That went on a bit long, dude. If there was some stat padding here, it might have been that. And then of course we get your banger trailer headline right there, where Fisk even stops. He's like, dude, can you just shut the fuck up? Like, you trying to argue yourself out of a job? Like, I already said I'm not going to kill you this time.
Yeah,
and he gave him the kill you this time thing. He's not just being facetious.
He's like, this ever happens
not talking
again.
about blacklisting you. He's talking about killing you.
Yep.
So I thought that was kind of funny there. But again, he specifically, Fisk in that scene mentions, I know loyalty and courage are in short supply. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when he throws himself out there and he's like, oh no, it was my mistake. It was all me. That's courage. And of course, Sheila steps in and she goes, no, he's one of mine. So this is also on me. And at first Fisk's like, all right, you go down with the ship too. I don't care. Like, we can smoke you both. It's cool. There's plenty to go around. You know what I mean? But I thought those two characters grew on me a little bit. But that was good stuff. But we skipped over a really good part at the beginning, and I want to send again because I like to point out good performances, not just on the main cast. When the episode starts, Murdoch's down at the morgue. He's getting kind of the rundown from the medical examiner about Hector Ayala. Single 9mm shot, close range to the temple. Might have been a custom jacketed round. No, we didn't recover the casing. Thought that was a great little bit of kind of fuck you to Murdoch right there. And if it's not on his body,
I don't care.
I don't care. I'm like, okay, but you know what, dude? That's life, man. That's the job. Like, we don't, dude. I work in the medical profession. I don't go looking for problems that I don't need to. That aren't mine.
That's a police job, not a medical examiner's job.
And to be fair, it probably wouldn't have been the easiest piece of evidence to find, but Murdoch found it with just a little bit of intuition and enough guts to stick his hand into a sewer, because I've seen it. I ain't sticking my hand down there for nothing.
And it's New York. You never know when there might be an alligator or something down there.
No, shut, dude. Hypodermic needle like that. There's 73 reasons not to do that shit, and he did it blind. So kudos to him for finding the casing. Kudos for him, literally. Right? They made about 7 of those jokes in this episode, which I also thought was funny. We're gonna get to my favorite one
with Leroy.
Not just him, with the cop in the hallway. We're gonna talk about that one. I thought that was awesome how they wrapped that scene up. But what I wanted to talk about at the beginning was Ayala's niece comes in, and if Pape is here, and if there's any connection to other lore, please just throw it in the comments, please, brother. I appreciate it.
I believe she takes up the mantle.
Okay, so because she did have a name, right? Like when she came in, I think Murdoch addressed her by a name. So she was named and had enough dialogue. But I wanted to just hand it out to the young actors on a performance basis. Dude, teary, angry. Like, she ran through the voice quavering thing as she described this, the reality of, he's just Hector from the Heights and they're the fucking cops. You know what I mean? She didn't try to grandstand on Matt. She didn't try to body him. When he said it was time to go and to keep faith, he offered his arm out there and she took it. And they quietly walked away. She should have been on The Acolyte. She's better than everybody on that show in the 3 minutes I got to see her. You know what I mean? That's all I want out of and she's probably 20 playing a 15-year-old or whatever, 25. She's not like a kid. But again, it's performances that make people seem like real people. Like, he wasn't in this episode. Who's the PI that works for Murdoch in this one?
Cherry.
It just sounds like a retired cop turned PI, street smart, kind of tough. Won't take anybody's crap. You know what I mean? Like, they just sound like normal people. Like, there is no cartoonishness to this show yet. And I'm sure the Kingpin's going to put some on at some point because he kind of needs it. But his tirade, like you were talking earlier, that's any pissed off boss I've ever had.
Yeah.
That somebody drops the ball on something big. Dude, you've been on government projects. You don't think people yell on those?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly what I'm saying. But I
I'm
thought
in a
that
job
was
now
cool.
where things drop all the time and no one yells. So I just haven't been around it in a while.
There you go. That's when you walk around like, when's the shoe gonna drop?
Mm.
Shoe, is the shoe gonna drop? No, that's cool. No, maybe it's just nobody cares. That could be it too. No. But that was a good scene. So if she does pick up the mantle, we saw them bagging up the white tiger costume with the amulet. I'm like, wait a minute. The Emmy's bagging up what he knows incontrovertibly is a magic artifact. That shit is going for a walk. Yeah, dude. I'm taking a chance. I'm selling that shit on eBay or I'm using it myself. You know what I mean? You gotta test that theory. You can't just put it in a plastic bag and set it down to evidence. Shit goes missing all the time. It's New York. You know? Shit happens. But what happened after that scene there? Because I know there was something else that connects. Was it the beginning of therapy? Because I really don't want to talk about that
Yeah.
yet.
It moved into the therapy session after
Okay.
that. And the next
Yeah, we
thing
should
was
talk
Matt
about
on his roof taking the phone call that leads him to Leroy.
Okay. So I mean, I think those, if there's weak parts of the episode, it's kind of these. The Leroy thing in particular bordered almost for me on, I think, a little cartoonishness, but there was some banter in there. It was kind of funny. I'll give it that. But the therapy thing, that set up something really sinister at the end of the episode. So I know I wanted to get your thoughts on the therapy session, if you thought there was some strong takeaways there.
Oh, the therapy session was great. Like the way he's like affair, such a stupid word. It's like it's not a dinner party, it's betrayal. And then she's talking about like how when he left, it was betrayal. Part of him left. She didn't know he was coming back. He's like, I'll always come back. And then she asked him to describe Adam. And she's talking about the way he draws. And this is what made me think for a second there that he's going to be the Muse. Is Adam.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Just talk about the way he draws. And we all know the Muse is a street artist. So put 2 and 2 together there. And it didn't add up to 4.
Nope.
And I like the part where they answer together. They're like, Adam wasn't in my husband's line of work. And it was like, what's your line of work? Politics? And they both business.
That was good. That was all right. It was a good therapy session. I think that she's shaping up to be, disappointingly for me at least, a little bit a weak link is the therapist character, the Matt's girlfriend. I don't know, man. Maybe they're just not giving her enough punch in the session. I mean, she has to play it a certain way to be a professional psychiatrist, therapist,
Yeah,
whatever.
I think that's the main thing.
Wisecracking. But I mean, I don't know. Did you think, because we get a scene later where Murdoch gets home late and she's at his place waiting for him to get home. I just don't know if they have chemistry together as like an on-screen couple at all.
No, they definitely don't work as well as him and Karen work together.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I was getting better vibes with Murdoch and the district attorney that he was trying to like negotiate the sentencing with. Like, she's kind of cute. They had a little back and forth, and she's into him.
She's a lot more playful than what Heather is.
I mean, I get it. Not every character is going to be the same. Not every character is going to have those same traits. Every relationship wouldn't work the same. But if the show is going to lean heavy on the Heather character as kind of like Matt's new emotional anchor, something, they need to be a little bit more together than he just goes home and they go to bed.
To tell the truth, I think she's going to play more into when they start bringing the Muse in to the story. Like they introduced him. I mean, they kind of booked in the episode with him right before the credits roll at the beginning and right before the credit olds in the end. And I want to pay homage to this guy. If you to pull up that picture,
oh yeah,
I mean, it looks creepy. It matches his outfit from the comic book, which I don't think it's actually an outfit in the comic book.
That's his skin.
So that's just who he is. Like,
yeah.
I went and read his wiki because I didn't read his comic book. I went and read his wiki, and so found out a few things. I wanted to find out who created him, which was Charles Soule.
Okay,
is the one who created him, and Ron Gamey is the one who drew him.
That's good. Good. It looks like they matched it up there pretty good, especially the eyes. The bleeding eye effect is looking pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that there. Did you notice they had a couple of shots of his work within the episode between the bookends where it's like it's got the Punisher skull and it says triggering on it? I'm like, that's pretty slapping. And then there was another picture of Fisk but it was like a double silhouette image, and the shadow was Fisk in the white suit, like who he really was coming out of like the old smaller, darker suit. I'm like, okay, all right, they're playing with some. I like them playing with the visuals.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think in the next episode, why they're doing the two together, is going to be a lot of what the Muse is doing, where he starts painting with blood.
Blood. Yeah, that's kind of sick. That's straight out of like an Arkham Asylum game. Like that'll hit the rated R mature vibe for sure in the show, because that's actually a little lacking outside of those couple of fight scenes. Like we need a little bit more like punch up to the weight class you're in. Like this isn't supposed to be, TV 12 or TV 14 or whatever that rating is.
Yeah, I think he kills 40 people, and then he starts painting the vigilantes, because he's kind of a vigilante junkie. Like he's really into them.
All right, the compelling character. Then I'll anticipate seeing more of him as he appears. But as it stands, what we have with because we were talking about Heather, and that's what got us onto the Muse character. I need them to give her something meaningful to do, like, and if she's going to be wrapped up in the Muse, that's fine. But I need her to have more meaningful stuff to do with Matt now, and hopefully, maybe the segue into the stuff with the Muse is him following Fisk to her office and realizing that she's his doctor or therapist or whichever. I don't know, because she doesn't know he's Daredevil, so no, there would be a wedge there. They would only be able to have the confidentiality argument, the privilege conversation. See, I don't know. There's just something missing between them, and unless they turn it really quick into something about Karen, and I don't think they're going to. Like that's not the vibe pick it up. It's like it's a year later and he's moved on.
Yeah,
Yes, I really don't think it's gonna be that kind of thing. But yeah, I'll say this: I hope the therapy thing isn't a weekly installment either, because there's really only so many scenes like that you can lay out there where you hit on like what would be a core concept of like marriage therapy and make it interesting for us to see. Usually it's just a lot of arguing and going around in circles.
And I think this was to set up that final scene we see with Fisk to show that his old self is coming out.
Yeah.
Where his whole thing where he's talking about Adam, it was like it was a dialogue.
Dialogue.
What type of dialogue? A clarifying one.
See, that's what I mean. Like, how many times can you go back to the well to set up a scene like that? You know what I mean? That's punchy, that has a couple of good one-word answers from one of your main characters. Like, that's tough. You don't want it to become feeling too predictable. And the other thing you don't want to do is unless their intention is to make Vanessa come across as like cold or bitchy, because she's riding that line kind of already. And I noticed that she didn't once apologize for any of her actions, which I'm sure there's a segment of people out there that'll probably say, yeah, that's typical. Of course it's his fault. He's the dude. I'm like, okay, you're entitled to feel that way. But he's made his apologies and she hasn't. So of course that has Heather circle back to, I asked you, your first intake question was, is the point of this to preserve the marriage or dissolve it? Think about that before next session.
Yeah. And then asked, does she feel safe at home?
Which again, that's not overly dramatized either. That is a standard infield kind of question you do. You separate partners and you assess safety. Of course, that leans one way over the other, just based on the sheer volume of statistics that say you don't typically have to ask guys if they're getting abused in the home physically, which is what they're always after in those kind of questions. But it was so cool. And then they revisit that, so that wasn't a throwaway scene either. Because she has resolution with that with Fisk later, where she says, Vanessa says to him, she asked if I felt safe at home, and I said, yeah. Like, I don't think you'll hurt me. Is that okay? Should I feel like that, or if things change? And he, of course, does the "I'd never hurt you." See, my Fisk sounds like Batman. I got to work on that. Like, I don't know.
Vanessa, he can't hurt you.
Yeah, that's better, but it's not gravelly enough. We both got to work on it, I guess. But mine's outright bail Batman. Where is it? Where? Like that's all I got. That's the only Fisk voice I have.
Laryngitis Batman.
Right. Still the best one out of some recent shit that I've seen. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, but we could talk about that. Vanessa. Yeah, that's true, man. She doesn't need to feel the need to apologize, but at the end of the day, you still cheated. Like that, you just have to on the basis of that alone. That's just kind of how that is. I think just like honest people understand that, But if maybe she's not, maybe she's kind of crooked that way, which is fine. But yeah, while we're on the subject of Adam anyway, I thought, and I was telling you this before we started, when he started going into that big dialogue about, I've come to learn that forgiveness is kind of the most important thing. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. All right, well, we just got the 5-minute apology from Daniel about, I'm sorry, it was my bad about the campaign leak. The Kingpin sits down at like this decadently appointed table, right?
The biggest meal he's eaten in the show so far.
Dude, full on platter, like Thanksgiving Day turkey. I'm trying to do like the size of the turkey platter here, you know what I mean? Like it's big. And he just does his thing, his little OCD neurotic. He's just like, looks like he's going to cut a piece of ziti in half.
Yeah.
Right? He's kind of neurotic. And I'm like, oh, snap. And then they pan slowly over. And of course, some dude's begging to get left out of a cage. And it's like a nondescript voice. It's not like heavily accented or anything. So it could have been Daniel whimpering. It could have been you, me. Could have been Santa Claus. Who knows? But then we get the face in the cage, and it's very clearly not Daniel. And I'm like, all right, it's Adam. They tell us it's Adam. And he's grabbing the bars. And I was like, why aren't his hands all broken up? Because they specifically talked about that in the therapy.
Yeah.
Where Vanessa was most attracted to his hands because he's an artist and this and that. If I was Fisk, I'd have cut him off with a knuckle to each one. You know what I mean? That's got to be better than To the Pain, Princess Bride reference, Or it's at least should be included in there, I guess.
Yes. No, your ears you get to keep.
Yep. And I'll tell you why. We probably should cover that video somewhere. We'd cover that movie. But so we get the little forgiveness bit. That's good there. We get all the kind of stuff with Matt and Heather. That was a really quick scene. That's why I said it really doesn't move the needle for me romantically with them as a couple at all. Like nothing's happened. There's no friction there yet.
But the main point was to get him in bed so he can get up and do what he did there at the end.
Yeah, clearly because he can't go to sleep. And of course we get the training montage. It's like it wasn't full on 80s training montage. Like it wasn't Rocky, it wasn't Karate Kid or anything. He was just getting back in the swing of things, no pun intended. You see what I did?
And I liked how it kept going back and forth from Matt working with his sticks with I don't know the name of the weapon, but it's where he's spinning around with a long chain.
Right. I don't know.
Jackie Chan uses it a lot.
They're not traditional nunchakus. You know what I mean? Because it's very much they're just batons, but they're connected, so he can do that kind of like the.
I was talking about the one with the rope. And then it has the thing, and like you spin it around, and like then you hold it tight, and then spring it. Yeah, he's doing that, and while Fisk eats and listens to Adam plead for his life, Mr. Fisk, that's Mayor Fisk.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like they D'Onofrio can time those out. He really can. He can time out those because that was pretty raspy. Second thought almost. Like it wasn't like he slammed his silverware down and got all dramatic about it. He's just like, nah. Mm-hmm.
Nice, calm. Like it wasn't like it was just another day in dinner.
Yeah, ain't no thing. Like it was Sunday dinner, not in a dungeon.
Yeah,
because it was in a dungeon.
It was in a kind of a wine cellar that was made into a dungeon. Because you saw the bottles of wine behind.
Was it the room from the first episode where Vanessa was holding like the big mob meeting?
I think she would have noticed Adam there.
No, but I mean, maybe Adam's been moved there since, and she's not going back.
Yeah, because he wanted to. He wanted to dissolve that her dealings.
This is what I'm saying. So I wonder if that was the same spot or not. But the big funny for me in this episode is Matt. We get the footstep hearing thing again. He can track different people based on the footsteps, the cadence, the weight, whatever. And he knows that the dirty cop is coming towards him. So they get into a bit of an exchange, and it's a little back and forth and this and that. And the cop's like, 40 guys in my family have worn the badge. I'm not dirty. And I didn't kill he's dirty. He didn't kill Ayala. And Murdoch's listening and he doesn't hear the heartbeat. The heartbeat thing comes up twice in this episode. And he's like, oh shit. He actually doesn't know anything about Ayala. But they have this little barb, right? And it starts with the cop being like, what would the bar association think about a blind lawyer interfering with an investigation?
And obstructing justice.
And he says, I forget the setup line is something like, careful out there. A lot of my buddies are kind of excitable. I'd hate to have to come pay you a visit. And Murdoch puts this shit-eating grin of all time on his face. He goes, but you're going to have to bring more this time, won't you? And I was like, okay. And the episode, that's all I needed. That's all I needed, because
I was more than you did last time.
I was pretty sure Murdoch killed those guys. You were too?
I was, yeah. There was crunches when their head bounced off either the refrigerator, the floor, or the table.
Or the table, right? Dude, each one of those head strikes was like a Mortal Kombat X like fatal blow, where it switched to X-ray mode in my head, and I'm like, oh, I can see the skull fracturing into pieces with this strike.
Yeah,
and dude, he's just up on the jet. This guy didn't even take FMLA for a couple weeks. He went back to work.
Yeah, how he can make complete sentences after taking that beating is beyond me.
Dude, he should have wound up like the guy from A Green Mile and been taking his meals through straws for the rest of his life. Remember the one crappy what was his name? The one prisoner that was all up in Andy's business all the time. Boggs, yeah. I hear he's spending the rest of his life upstate, taking his meals through a straw. Yeah. But he went back to work. The other guy we haven't seen again. Maybe he's dead. I don't know. He didn't mention murder, so I'm guessing Murdoch didn't kill him.
Didn't kill him.
That exchange was pretty good.
Well, he did break that dude's arm, so he's least on medical leave.
Well, I mean that's also the same dude, I think, that hit his head on the table. You know what I mean? Because there was the white dude that got the main dirty cop that got the face to the fridge twice.
Yeah.
And then whatever judo flip landed him on his cheek on the floor. I don't know how you timed that out right, but he did. Kind of concerning. But yeah, man, I think we hit all the big scenes in the show anyway.
Yeah, this one was jam packed with stuff. Like, you didn't feel that it was 55 minutes. Like, they just kept going. The flow was good, and they got a lot of information that you need to move forward.
And they didn't waste anything either. Like, I was seeing some people being like, we opened with this kind of where people wanted more Punisher, and I'm like, wait, just like pump the brakes. There's probably going to be more. I'm sure it's not just he showed up to give the one broken soul, vigilante hero. I can't work for the system. I can't say I'm out there saving lives, but I'm doing it he wasn't just going to show up to have that semi duplicated speech from earlier engagements with Matt from the other shows.
Yeah, from season 2.
Right. They're going to break some new ground here. He'll show up in the costume at some point. We see that he's decked out. He's in an armory. He had a P90 up on the rack. He's got his MP5 up on the rack. I've seen him. He's got photographs and wires connecting to things on walls. Murdoch brushed his hand over an explosive component on the desk. So there's some stuff. I mean, the Punisher's gearing up. For sure. So just settle down, guys. Like, keep your pants on. We're going to get some pun. It's going to be there.
Here's the thing. When you have a good show like this, there's going to be story elements. It's not going to be fight of the week, bang, bang, flashy. You have to build the story. That's how they're going to pull you along with this. They're trying to get you emotionally involved. So if you're there for eye candy and popcorn type thing, this isn't it. But that's the reason why it makes it so good. They're not relying on tricks and flashes to pull you in. They're going to give you an outstanding story to follow with likable and deep characters.
100%, man. That's the thing. Like, from modern superhero TV shows, like even crap ones. I mean, even if we're talking about Loki or Captain America. No, he wasn't even Captain America then. He was still Falcon and Winter, whatever, on that show. Like, it's not a monster of the week. It's not Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno wandering town to town like the A-Team and solving a problem, then walking off into the sunset. Like, no, there's a 10-episode narrative here, and not everything can be pew pews and fists as much as we might want them. But I'm gonna guarantee everybody they took an episode off from the big fisticuffs this week. Some shit's going to explode in episode 5 or 6. That feels like a given, because this is the halfway. We're already at the halfway point, right? Like, isn't 5? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's either 8 or 9. Yeah, I think it's 9 episodes.
Five is like the midpoint, So of course that's going to be that midpoint thrust. It's going to be a big turn of events somehow, some way. I don't think it'll be that Matt puts the costume back on. That seems like they're just getting into the swing of that now. So I'm guessing he doesn't put it back on until like the second to last episode, if we're laying out predictions. You know what I mean? Like, I think we'll build to it to earn it And same thing
kind
with
of
Fisk, the white
kind
on
of
for
like
the end.
kind of like the first season. We didn't put on
Right.
the till the second to last or the one before
Right.
the last episode.
The penultimate, if you will.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I think that they're building to something that's intriguing, it's interesting, it's well done. I can't find anything on a technical or a craft level that I think detracts from the show. People were
Nothing.
complaining about the wiring on in episode 1 with the like the grappling wiring. And
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, like, come on. I guess like okay, deduct a point. Now it's an 8.5. Okay, it still slaps. But yeah, dude, we'll be back next week, and we'll be back on Dare. We're not done tonight by a long shot, but we'll be back with Daredevil next week for both episodes. That'll
Yep.
probably be the entire FrostCast episode 35.
Kind of like what we did for episode 1 and 2.
Yeah. Because I think that not just because the volume of content within those 2 episodes is likely going to be a similar runtime. You know, I'm guessing 45 minutes a piece probably on both, but because I've been told that there's a reason that they're being lumped together, these 2 and specifically, that there's probably a big piece of story to kind of just like distill from them 2 being lumped together. That it's not just because they're trying to get it all out because Andor is right on the heels of this show.
Yeah.
I think this was a tactical decision. So yeah, we'll get into that next week on the double episode for sure. But all right, let's move. Let's go. We're done Daredevil, guys. Go watch the show. Go watch the show. So when we do the spoiler thing, woo, you don't have to be. I was gonna sneak that in. I just like making the sound. I don't get to make that sound at work too much. Ever really. What causes them to put the costume back on? Not giving up much on that yet. The bullet casing might be a clue. I think the bullet casing was just the excuse he needed to go seek out Frank, who he knew was in town.
Yeah, because it had the logo on there.
Logo on it, right?
What I think
he can feel him out to see if it's him or not. But they didn't do the heartbeat thing with where he's seen if Frank was lying. You know what I mean?
I think they know each other so well. He can Frank ain't gonna lie about I didn't do it. Like he would take full responsibility for it. So
yeah, good point.
So I think they know each other well. But what I think will have him put the costume back on will be him trying to take down the Muse as the Muse tries to take out Kingpin.
Yeah, I guess so. Because I mean, even if Fisk is imagine that if Fisk is innocent of whatever the Muse thinks he is, and that's what compels Matt to put the costume on. But I guess they have to, because I mean, in 2025, do you ever think in a million years the MCU, courtesy of Disney, would make the inciting incident to him putting the costume on be like Heather dying or Heather being kidnapped? Like they're not going to let him fridge her, you know what I mean, to get back in the red. That ain't happening. Shit's not happening by a long shot. But well, I guess let's wait and see. But yeah, it's not the Punisher, but I guarantee they throw hands probably on the same side at some point.
Yeah, which goes
going to fight again. Like I can't imagine.
With them having the logo, and he's talked about like groupies. Frank was. I do believe that.
Flat out.
Yeah, the tattoos on the chops is that they are a Punisher cult. Then inside the NYPD, than they are the anti-vigilante task force that I was thinking they were.
You know, I wonder then if there was a small continuity error that they made, because we get a pretty good look at the Punisher symbol on the shell casing. And the skull I didn't see the kind of we called it a barcode last week, remember?
Yeah, the QR code.
The guy's tattoo, the QR code you called it, right? Where we saw the cop that had the tattoo on his neck, another one had it on the inside of his arm. It had some kind of additional working in the middle of the skull. The shell casing did not, as far as I could see.
It didn't. It looked just the clear skull.
Yeah. So maybe they should have, if it was that, unless it's a frame job, unless somebody wants someone to think it's the Punisher.
Yeah, which I believe that's what's trying to lead into.
Yeah, I can see that.
What's trying to pull the Punisher out and put him back in the black shirt.
I can see all the the threads coming together a little bit as we kind of just reasoned it out loud for sure. But yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to see where to go. Pape says the Punisher crew. That's what I was thinking. Daredevil Punisher going after rogue officers. I guarantee that's episode 6. That's probably going to be a thing that will probably instigate Fisk into doing a more public, like Kingsley was saying, anti-vigilante squad. We can't have these animals running around the streets, New York.
Killing police officers.
Killing police officers. Vanessa, where's the parm? This voice sucks. This is terrible. I gotta go back to I gotta watch D'Onofrio for an hour to figure this shit out. Yeah. But I guarantee exactly what Pape said is the you're always talking about the mini arcs of 3 or 2 in these
Yep.
series. That's going to be 5 and 6. They're going to have to sort that shit out. We will get the Muse as a result of that. Kingpin, that then forces his hand to come up with the crew that you were just talking about. And then we coast through episodes 8 and 9 as Daredevil resolves all that shit. And I've never read this arc in the book, and I don't necessarily think they're pulling straight from it, but how does that book end? Do you know? Where Kingpin is mayor, does he get, like, is he responsible for anything? Do they lock him up?
I
Or does he
honestly,
fall from the mayor's job? Like, how does that resolve?
completely honest, I haven't read this arc. I do know it starts with Daredevil Volume 5, issue 11 is where
Okay.
you'll start seeing this arc play out. Because I do know that they only took the name Born Again, which is the Born Again story is actually season 3.
Yeah, you were telling me that too. I mean, you told me that after I bought the effing book and bought the wrong book. But yeah,
Still a
like,
great book.
still a
Frank
great book.
Miller.
I'm about 30 pages into it. I am enjoying it because let me tell you, when they talk about kill your darlings to engender the reader to fall in love with your protagonist, they put Matt Murdock down and kick him like 9 times. I mean, literally, like, his life is destroyed in the first 30 pages. Like, there's no aspect of his being that is not impacted negatively, from his job to his relationships to people straight stabbing him in the back, loses his apartment. Like, it's crazy, dude. If they condensed it down into a comedy, Segway, it could be an Adam Sandler movie where all that shit happens in like the first 15 minutes until he meets his Vanessa and has to do some other, maybe he has to win a long drive competition.
You didn't say
awful.
Sandler, did you?
I might have said Sandler. Why might I have said that?
Because the official trailer of Happy Gilmore 2 is dropped, a Netflix exclusive movie, and we're going to watch it for the first time right now.
And Pape's out.
Arnold. Jacko. Tiger. SpongeBob? What is that? What's with the beaver teeth? I haven't swung a club in years. I'm a little intimidated. All these guys hit it big now. I don't know where to start.
Come on, brother. Grip it and rip it.
I guess I need to update my happy place to something a little more age appropriate.
Boots. Find the damn horse.
Mr. Gilmore? Holy shit.
We're not done with golf. Let them see the happy
That's
I fall in
Grandma's
love
house.
with.
Let's go.
We'll put a little extra into this one.
I am so sorry.
So Happy's back.
Happy learned how to putt. Uh-oh. And that's probably the original is probably one of my favorites.
Oh yeah,
of his
it's so
entire portfolio.
quotable.
It's classic. Yeah, it's eminently quotable today. You know, you're too good
I-
for your home. Like there's I mean, any line. I just pick a line. Everybody knows instantly what's going on.
Yeah. I just may. I might eat hay down by the bay.
Listen to what I say.
Hey.
Yeah, good shit. You eat pieces of shit for breakfast? That's what I mean. Dude.
There's
It's
so
so
many.
Juvenile and funny, but it still holds up. Like I don't get. I would challenge anybody that's like 20 in 2025 to watch it and not laugh. Like because it's funny. It just is. I don't care. I mean, Billy Madison's a little crude, but the Gilmore's tops.
I seen your phenol paintings and they suck.
And they suck too. That's with the girlfriend at the beginning. That's what I mean, dude. That's the first 5 minutes of the movie, and you never see that character again. But it's hilarious. You know what I mean? It works.
Yeah.
And they followed up with the old Asian lady. I made breakfast. That's too funny.
Yeah.
There's a lot in that.
Kiss you all
I know.
over.
That's too funny. The whole scene's too funny. I don't think a joke in that movie doesn't land. But let's talk about this trailer right here, though. Could we bring that back up? There was something I wanted to kind of see. We get that rolled back up there. If we just start at the left and just kind of, we can watch it again. I'm going to watch it again.
Arnold.
Oh.
Jacko. Tiger.
I thought for sure it was going to be Chubbs. We're going to get a Chubbs reference for sure.
What is that?
Definitely.
What's with the beaver teeth? I haven't swung a club in years. I'm a little intimidated. All these guys hit it big now. I don't know where to start.
Come on, brother. Grip it and rip it.
I guess I need to update my happy
Bruins
place to
jersey. I
something
forgot
a
to
little
mention
more
that.
Yep.
age appropriate.
That's obviously his daughter. Was that the girl from the first movie? Was that Vanessa? So they brought her back too. Okay.
Yep.
It looks like she's aged nicely. Oh, right there. That's from the Waterboy. That's the assistant coach. That's
Yeah.
Fringe. Okay.
We're not done with golf. I
Yeah,
can
that's
see the
definitely
happy
Grandma's
falling
house
off
he's
it.
moving out of. Yeah. He looks good.
We'll put a little extra into this one.
I love that laugh.
I am so sorry.
Yeah, I got to get one good Sandler laugh in there. You know what I mean? Like old school, like that raspy, cackling. Yeah, like exactly. Like the one that he breaks out in 8 Crazy Nights every line. Yeah, that one. That's the one I need. I know people dump on Sandler and Sandler movies. A lot of them suck. They really, I mean, they do. Especially
Jack
like in the
and
last 5
Jill.
years. Terrible. Probably some kind of money laundering, benefits kicking scheme to his buddies. And that's not a hot take. Everybody says that shit. You know, I'd be like, hey, King, grab the wife, grab 2-3 buddies. I'm going to grab a couple of mine. We're going to go on vacation, shoot this movie, and I'm going to buy y'all a Corvette. That's basically how that went down.
That's the whole plot of Grown Ups and Grown Ups too.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
This
hey
is literally
friends,
what I
let's
mean.
go film a movie. What's it about? Who cares?
Like this. I got a corporate sponsor for a Carnival cruise line. You want to go? Yeah, let's go shoot a movie. What's the plot? Don't matter. We're on a boat. That's the
We're
plot.
on a boat.
You know?
Can we
But,
get
like-
T-Pain to sing it?
Dude, that would be an easy $250,000 out of my budget because that'd be the first thing I would say. Like, we need. I'm on a boat, and I'd bring in Los Lonely. I'd bring them all.
Yeah.
I'd have him cameo, but I know a lot. He signed, and I don't have the deals on the numbers on it, but like he signed a mega deal to make this crap for Netflix, right? Like a 10-picture deal, or
Yeah.
12-picture deal or some shit like 5 years ago. So we're only like halfway through it. Like this dude set like 9 generations up for life from one deal.
And
You know?
the thing is when he gets away from comedy, he does some fantastic work.
Yeah.
Hustle, like Hustle's a
great
must
movie.
see. If you love basketball, you're gonna love the movie Hustle. I think that's a fantastic movie with Adam Sandler in it, where he's not playing a comedic role. There are funny parts in it, but it's not a comedic role.
I mean, I think he's a pretty good case study in like a mixed bag of how to evolve as you age. Like I get it. He's in his 50s. He can't be Billy Madison in his 50s. It just
No.
And I like Billy Madison, but for me, I'd be like, well, dude, I don't act like I did most of the time when I was 20. Like it really doesn't track. And you can only break out so many nostalgic jokes and references from a comedy before it just becomes a rewind, you know? Like I don't want that either. But I think that Happy Gilmore gives him a spot where he can do Happy Gilmore too. He was just a normal dude in the first movie, well, but normal more or less for a Gilmore, for a Sandler character. But like he can be a 50-year-old retired pro golfer and come back out for one big tournament, you know?
Yeah.
And he said it in the movie. Oh man, all these guys hit the long ball now. I'm kind of nervous. Like, okay, that's got some Rocky Balboa vibes to it, man. You know, like Balboa wants to get in the ring one more time to see if he can do it with all the young guys, you know? So I don't know. I'm sure it won't be side splitting funny because we're gonna know what to expect.
Yeah, because I mean, how much could you really do new from Happy Gilmore that doesn't rehash what you have in the first one? I do know who plays his son in this, and that is the wrestler MJF.
Do we even see his son in the trailer?
No,
anywhere?
we don't see it.
Like we see guys, but I didn't see
MJF did a interview, and it said that.
Okay. So I mean, so he's probably got, and that's another thing about like modern Sandler movies. We get some family dynamics there, where he's typically an estranged dad from a daughter or a son that went to live with mom after a divorce, those kind of things. He's a little older now, so he could have like an adult son that he hasn't talked to in years. Who knows? But in the trailer there was a younger female that had long dark hair. I assume that's his daughter. Like, is there a daughter character that he has?
Maybe. I didn't
Way
hear
too young to
anything
be the
about
love
that.
interest, and he's clearly with Vanessa still, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the implication there. I know Lee Majors is Shooter McGavin's on board.
Yeah.
Because I've seen the tweets and they're kind of funny. They were written in character, from like Happy Gilmore to Shooter McGavin, being like, the good one was like, if the guy from the commercial shows up, I got this shit on lock, like Shooter McGavin said. Yeah, no, it was a picture of Sandler looking like a bum at the Oscars or something, and the Shooter McGavin tweet was like, if this clown shows up, I got him. It was pretty funny. But I mean, so it seems like everybody had fun. Let me ask you this: depending on this movie's production cycle, do you think we get Ghost Chubbs? Do we get Force Ghost Chubbs? Carl Weathers?
No, I think.
Did this happen too far after? Because Weathers only died, I think, last year. I think.
Yeah, and they did film this last year.
So I mean, it's like a toss up. I mean, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed because I'd kill for Force Ghost Chubbs. That would be dope. He's getting a mention, hands down. Because I think we saw that in the other trailer. I think in one of the other trailers, because this isn't the first one, is it? This is the first full one, but I think we had a teaser already, didn't we?
No, I think this was the teaser.
I swear I saw something that had Chubbs in it. Maybe it was one of those fan-made still shots or something.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, but anyway, that would be kind of dope.
I'm getting really tired of the fan-made trailers too.
Dude, I know you fell for one earlier, right?
I did. I fell for one recently. Stranger Things,
right? Dude, yeah, you got my hopes up yesterday with that bullshit.
It was I will give it props. It was a really good fan-made trailer because it did convince me, because it was scenes that I couldn't remember from season 4. And so
you need to send me that link then. I want to see this for myself. But you've confirmed that it's a fan-made or that it's fake. And it kind of checks, because I think that would have been a giant story given all the kind of channels that you and I both follow. Like season 1, season 5, first trailer, teaser, yada, yada, yada. That would have been everywhere. 5,000 Facebook pages. Yeah, that would have been a dope trailer to watch. Yeah, I'm down for the Gilmore when that comes out. It's on Netflix. Cost me nothing to watch it. Already subbed. It's not doing the day in or whatever, a day of they call it at the theater. So it's not going to be like it's going to tank outright. And he already got paid. Part of a 10-picture deal. What does he care?
Yeah, he's sitting fat. I mean, I think what do you think is his best role?
See, I mean, but you said it yourself a minute ago, man. It's like there's two camps of movies. He's got the serious ones, or at least the melodramatic ones. They're the comedies that are a little sappier, like things like 50 First Dates or something like that. But then he's got the other stuff, and I haven't seen enough, I don't think, of the serious stuff to really gauge it. Like, I've seen Spanglish once. You know what I mean? I don't think I've ever seen Punch Drunk Love in its entirety. I've never seen, what was the 9/11? Was that Rain Over Me?
Rain Over Me.
Yep, haven't seen that one. I haven't seen Hustle.
And then he also has Uncut Gems.
You haven't seen that either?
I heard that's a banger.
Yeah, I'm much more familiar with that early catalog of the other comedy stuff.
Yeah,
Madison, the Gilmore, Waterboy,
Big Daddy.
Like, those are the 5. You know what I mean? And I throw 50 First Dates, and I've seen 50 First Dates a bunch of times. That's I'm a big Drew Barrymore fan. I think she's adorable in that movie. Like, she helps carry that.
So back in the day, they used to bring people in to watch something early and then let you know ask you questions about it. I got to sample the first trailer of 50 First Dates.
Oh, cool. Thing.
Yep. They were pulling people at the mall and they pulled it over. The other one was Ben Affleck movie. I forgot which one it was, but it came out around the same time. But yeah. I can't remember.
I haven't seen him in a movie forever. The Waterboy is the best Sandler film. Debatable. Maybe we should do a whole segment on that. It's one of my favorites. Because I love Mama. It's like
which brings me to my next point. Don't do crack.
Dude, that's effortlessly quotable. Start to finish, multiple characters. Cameos are great. You know, that's how I feel about a lot of the stuff.
He died of the dehydration, coach.
That's what I'm saying. I was just a little baby in my mama's belly.
I would have brought him the water.
One of my favorite nonverbal joke in that movie is when he's taking the test and Vicky knocks on the window and holds up the notebook and says, "Do you want me to kill them?" Like talking about the test proctors. He's like,
"Yeah,
that's too funny." That is the Fonz is in that.
Yeah.
Kathy Bates, who we're both big fans of, is unbelievably funny as Mama. There's no role that woman can't do. Fact.
No, hands down.
She is all comic timing in that. The bullshit accent works every line. His is a little fluffy in the movie. It comes off a little wonky because he's supposed to be mixing like Cajun with some special needs stuff, and that probably wouldn't track as well in 2025 with some people, but it's still funny. But Kathy Bates, fucking masterful in that movie.
You leave me here all day with Steve?
That's what I mean. She just carries it up. And that's the thing. You know she wasn't directed to do that. She just knew. She knew by reading the script that was the emphasis was on that word. And she
I wouldn't say a snake has parts, but I would, if I say anything, I'd say it's his knee.
It's his knee. That's what I mean. Dude, the Fonz had a tattoo of Roy Orbison on his ass. You know what I mean? And these are just like the things that people don't talk about when they talk about those movies. You know, everybody talks about the
you can do
tackling
it.
People. Right? People talk about that. They talk about tackling Colonel Sanders and shit.
Yeah.
You know, what does Mama got to say about this? Yeah, it's about your medulla oblongata. That's what I mean, man.
Give your mama my best.
I love. That's what I'm saying. There's too much funny shit in that movie, and I think that of all of the ones I mentioned, I think Billy, Happy Gilmore, and the Waterboy kind of create this perfect triangle of like crude humor that grows up a little bit into the slapstick with Happy Gilmore, and then it gets a little bit, I don't want to call it more nuanced. It's less crude, but it brings in a bunch more jokes with the Waterboy. The Waterboy must have more jokes per minute than like anything I've ever seen. You get the ESPN guys at the end of the movie. I quote that every effing Super Bowl. They won because they didn't hold anything back. Like, hey, dude, ask my family. Every big game I say that shit. Yep, love that. And at one point, she's like, "Shut up, Brent." That's what I'm saying, man. It's just the most mundane things make those movies work. Dude, we're gonna have to lock that in as a topic because I just realized I've been talking about Adam Sandler and we've run over our time. But we should probably pencil in a Sandler, maybe not a topic. We should maybe do a video on it, like rank them, and just take all the hate from people that are telling us that it's not funny. I'm like, nah, I will argue. Oh, I see on the side there. Pate mentions Weathers died February 2024. Nothing about Happy Gilmore 2 on his wiki. Damn it. Oh, well, I bet they still throw him a nod. There's no or if it's a pre-movie, like, you know, dedication of or at the end or something, you know, for Chubbs, Carl Weathers, or whatever it might say. I guarantee that ends up there. It has to. How does it not?
Yeah. Because Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
It's okay, Happy. Look, I got my hand back. We've only just begun. Cut the credits. Someone read us out of here.
Well,
I'm not kidding.
See ya.